RMS Titanic was a British ocean liner that sank in the early hours of the 15th of April 1912 as a result of colliding with an iceberg on her maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York. Of the 2,208 passengers and crew aboard, approximately 1,500 died, making the incident one of the deadliest sinkings ever. It was the biggest passenger ship of the time, at 882 feet in length, 104 foot tall, and was 92 feet wide. Its life began in Belfast, in what is now called Titanic Quarter, taking around 26 months to build. It was designed to be the pinnacle of comfort and luxury. They included a gymnasium, swimming pool, smoking rooms, fine restaurants and cafes, a Turkish bath, and hundreds of opulent cabins. Titanic had advanced safety features, such as watertight compartments and remotely activated watertight doors, which established the ship's reputation as unsinkable. The voyage began on the 10th of April, with quick stop-offs to board more passengers. The journey was going well. They had completed around 1,800 miles of their 2,800-mile journey. Warnings about the icy conditions arose, but this was largely ignored by the captain, as they were considered advisory, as ships had been known to survive head-on collisions without issue, and a ship of this size and modern design was unlikely to falter. The ship's captain had gone far enough to state he could not imagine any condition which would cause a ship to founder. Modern shipbuilding has gone beyond that. Despite this, on the 14th of April, around 11:40 p.m. reports of iceberg ahead were made. Attempts to steer the ship around and stop the engines were in vain, and the Titanic's starboard side collided with the iceberg. The collision caused holes below the waterline and dented the hull, allowing water in. 5 of the 16 watertight compartments were breached and water flooded in. The ship could have survived 4, but not 5, and therefore the ship began to sink. Predominantly women and children were rushed onto lifeboats, women surviving at 75% compared to men's 20%. It took around 2 hours for the ship to sink, during which numerous distress signals were sent. By 2:20, the whole ship had sank, dooming 1,500 souls to the depth of the ocean, including the architect Thomas Andrews Jr. and the captain Edward John Smith, who both went down with the ship. At around 4 a.m., RMS Carpathia arrived on scene and rescued the remaining survivors. The aftermath, the news travelled around the world and hit Southampton the hardest, with 4 out of 5 crew coming from there. Upon the survivors' arrival at New York, there was 40,000 people waiting in heavy rain and provided the survivors with food, water and clothing. Millions of dollars of aid was provided to the survivors, and a lawsuit began against the owners of the Titanic, which was settled for $22 million in today's money. Inquiries established that the causes of the ship's sinking were largely unforeseeable, rather than due to negligence. Despite this, things to note were identified, such as the lookout on board reported that disaster could have been averted should they have been supplied with binoculars. The crew lacked training on how many could safely fit on one lifeboat. Once the ship sank, only 5 people in the water were helped onto lifeboats, despite there being room for around 500 more. The SS Californian was the only ship to see the flares of the Titanic and was by far the closest ship, but made no attempt to help. Despite this, no action was taken against the crew.